Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Allison if you're new here, and today I am sharing 2 DIY projects. The first thing I'm doing is adding a cozy reading nook to our bedroom, and step 1 for me is always pulling out the painter's tape and just kind of mapping it out to see how it would look in here. I gave this bedroom a DIY makeover over a year ago now, and it was the first one that I ever did on this channel, and I haven't touched this room since. So I've been itching to do a little bit more in here and also add some book storage. If you've been following my channel recently, you know I've been really into books, so I need some more places to store them and also just add more interest to this wall. Originally, I thought I was going to put shelves on both sides of these windows, but then I realized that this left side just looked like it would be a cozy little reading nook if I added some shelves. So that's what we're gonna go with, just 2 floating shelves above that chair in the corner. A simple project, but also gonna be super impactful. Now, before I go all in on this project, I wanted to be smart about this and actually do a couple color swatches. So I grabbed a piece of scrap wood we had laying around in our garage, taped off 4 different segments, and then pulled out a wood stain and a couple different paint colors we had on hand. I was really trying to be resourceful with this project and only using things we already had, and thankfully I didn't have to buy anything for this little reading nook. Everything was already on hand in the garage, so it's a $0 DIY project. But I'm gonna just do all of these swatches in here, and then I'm gonna carry it up to the bedroom before I make my final decision on what finish I'm gonna go on these shelves. And also, shout out to you guys following over on Instagram. You guys helped me pick the color. You guys actually selected and voted on an Instagram story, and it turned out that that was the finish that we used for these shelves too. So if you're not already following me over there, definitely head over there and check it out.
There's no passion in the comatose. Baby going down, down, down. Baby going down, 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 down. Tried so hard to stay afloat. We keep moving like the river goes. Baby going down, down, down. Baby going down, 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 down. And I thought it's time I'm letting go.
Later that afternoon, I brought up my swatches, and honestly, it wasn't as successful of a test as I wanted it to be. It probably would have been helpful to have Christian hold it up against the wall for me, because I also wanted to see what it looked like against the black brackets we'd be using. So I'm really thankful you guys gave your input on Instagram. That really helped me make my final decision of going with the color Tornado Watch from Valspar. It's the color I used to paint the arch above the guest bedroom bed recently, and I'm kind of obsessed with the color. So that day we made the decision on the color and then the location of the shelves, and then once Madeline was put to sleep, Christian and I got to the serious work, and I pulled out the scrap piece of wood that we had stashed. I also measured out where I wanted Christian to cut them for me, and he took them over to our miter saw. I think that's what this is called. And he took them over to our miter saw to cut them down to size. He has way too many saws, like way more than I even know what they all do, and I kind of leave all of the power tools to him, and thankfully he is more than willing to do all of that kind of hard work for my channel and for these videos. So not much help on that front, but if you're interested in building shelves like these, you don't need these power tools at all. Home Depot or Lowe's, where you could buy this wood, will cut them down to size for you in store, no charge added. So don't worry if you don't have this set up like my husband does. You don't need anything special to do these shelves. It's probably one of the easiest DIYs you can possibly do. Since we pulled this wood out of the scrap pile, it had been sitting around in the garage for quite a few months at this point, and I guess Christian was doing some wood project near it or on top of this or something, or he had a reason for this, I'm sure, but it ended up being covered in these globs of wood glue, both pieces of it, the whole thing. It was a ton of tiny little globs or drops of it, and so I took our little chisels and went through and scraped every little piece of it off, which was tedious, but definitely worth it to not have to go out and buy another piece of wood for this project. I wasn't going to be too crazy about sanding these down super smooth, and I was kind of in a rush this night to get this project moving, and so I just grabbed a sanding block with a really low grit. That means that it's really rough and not going to make it super smooth, but still will just get a lot of the rough edges and any of like the wood flakes that came up with the chisel just smoothed out enough that it's not going to be super rough. So I used a sanding block just to make it a little bit more pulled together. Also, in the description bar of this video, I'll be linking a bunch of the products I use in these DIYs, including the sanding block and the paint we used and the brackets and all of that. So if you're curious about where anything is found, it's down listed below. Now when it came to painting these shelves, I was cutting a couple of corners. If you want to do this the quote-unquote right way, very professional, well done and well finished, I recommend sanding these down a lot more, using multiple grits, working up to a higher grit for it to be a super smooth finish. You also can prime these before you paint them. You can also work with a furniture paint or a more durable paint and then also seal them. I did not do any of those steps for these shelves, but only because I knew that they would not be used that often. They're going off in a corner of our bedroom. I'm not going to be messing with the decor on them a lot. I'm not going to be touching them a lot, and I kind of know that it's going to be okay to cut a few corners on these, so all I'm using is a can of interior paint. I did 2 quick coats on these, let them dry overnight, flipped them over, painting the other side, gonna let it dry really fast, and that's all I'm going to be bothering with. You can put a lot more effort and time to make this look more professional and be more durable, but I also kind of have known through my experience with all of these DIY projects that this project didn't need all that attention to detail.
So baby, put the record on. I'm not gonna need that song. Hit it. Monday came and swept away all the fun of yesterdays. But I'm gonna hold it together. This ain't forever. Need a shot and then a beat.
Now this is why I love starting my projects with the painter's tape on the wall for where I want my wall molding to go, or any shelves or any decor or picture frames. It gives you a really great visual of where it sits on the wall and how it sits with everything else around the room. This took out a lot of the guesswork of how high do I want this shelf to be, where do I want it to be centered. All of that stuff was already figured out beforehand, and I just needed to use a level and the measuring tape a few times to make sure it was just perfect and right. And then Christian was ready to step in and do the fun part of hanging everything and installing the drywall anchors and the screws and all the brackets. Now these brackets were really simple to use. It's just 4 screws that go into the wall, and then 1 screw goes up through the bracket into the piece of wood. I'll have these linked down below too, but I will warn you guys that we had some struggles with the hardware that these brackets came with. Christian ended up just pulling out our own sets of drywall anchors and screws and using those. The only problem with that is that they were silver and not black, but I will just end up painting them black later on. So I really like the look of these brackets. They're super sleek and clean and a great value and a great price, but just be warned that the hardware, not the greatest in this set.
Let's do something we'll regret. 'Cause I've been feeling that crazy, and I need to lose control. So baby, put the record on. Baby, put the record on. Hit it. And I've been needing that crazy, and I gotta let it go. So baby, put the record on. I'm not gonna need that song. Hit it. Couple hours from Japan, would you stay awake? I'm losing touch of who I am when you're far away. And I feel like I'm running in circles around.
I didn't have a paintbrush small enough to cover these screws, so I just grabbed a Q-tip and dipped that into a matte black paint to cover them up.
want you close. Ooh, closer than before. And no one knows. Ooh, that I want you close. I'm not overthinking feelings. I just need you to know that I want you close. Ooh, closer than before. I know that we've been through a lot. Now we're hiding in the crowd. I'll be whatever.
Before I get to styling this space, I definitely wanted to clean up the mess we had made, including taking off the extra painter's tape, gathering up extra screws, taking everything down to the garage. This is my least favorite part of the entire process, the cleanup of the messy stuff, but I wanted to make sure I got this done before I start my favorite part of the process, which is styling and adding the decor and really tying the whole space together.
Ooh, closer than before. And no one knows. Ooh, that I want you close. I'm not overthinking.
Now, when it comes to styling shelves, they can be super tricky, so I definitely recommend going to Pinterest for some inspiration, or Instagram, or your favorite home blogger, or any of those. I definitely find lots of ideas and inspiration there, and I also love to just shop around my entire house to fill up new shelves. If you're familiar with my house at all, the front room has 2 large black floating shelves in there too, and we're completely reworking that space. So I grabbed a couple different frames and decor pieces from there, and then also in our storage closet, I keep all of our books there, so I grabbed a big stack of books from there, and I'm just going to spend quite a bit of time playing with things, rearranging, and it's probably not going to even be the last time or the last setting of all of these items. I'm probably going to go back to them and tweak things a little bit here or there, but overall I'm really happy with how these shelves turned out. They look cozy and inviting and personalized, but still stylish. I think they're just perfect.
Ooh, closer than before. And no one knows. Ooh, that I want you close.
The final touch for this little reading nook is adding in this throw blanket just to add another texture, another layer, even though I know it's pretty one-dimensional and it's all very neutral and beige colored. I'm slowly trying to branch out of that, but guys, you'll see in a little bit with the next DIY that I'm scared of color. You'll see why, but I'm just not good at it, so bear with me. I'm bringing in bits of color in different accents slowly, but I definitely need to add more color to our bedroom. I'm very aware of that. And even with this chair, maybe like a fun pop of color with a throw pillow would be a nice touch too. But that's the first DIY project, the cozy reading nook. I love this space so much. It makes me smile because it's the first thing you see when you walk into our bedroom. But next DIY project is this lamp that's been living in our storage closet for way too long. It has a crack on the bottom. It has this weird texture all over it. I don't know if it's from the paint that was on it previously or if the lamp is textured, but it just looks weird. And so I have been itching to add this to baby girl's nursery and give it a new life. Now, I will tell you how this ends, and it ends poorly. It's purely laughable to see how this lamp turns out, but I loved the process of doing it and DIYing it. And the first thing I'm going to end up doing to this lamp is taking it out to the garage and sanding the life out of it. I'm grabbing that same sanding block and also a really rough sanding grit. I think I ended up using 80 grit. I think 60 and 40 grit was too rough, and 80 grit was just about right. And I'm not working on making this perfectly smooth. I just wanted to lift some of the old paint off of it and also smooth down the texture. In those before shots, you could see that it was a bit like a textured wall almost. I don't know what it was, but I did not love it, and I didn't make the paint look very smooth on there. But enough blabbering. I'm gonna do the painstaking task of an entire day spent sanding this thing. Like every single nap that day with Madeline, I was in this garage sanding every little nook and cranny of this thing, and it was a labor of love.
I will let my guard down. Don't wanna be shy.
with a little YouTube magic, I spared you guys the hours I spent sanding this thing, and now I'm gonna grab the Dyson and vacuum all of the dust up. The only gripe we have about doing all of these projects and woodworking things is how much dust gets left around our garage. Our garage is very much a multi-purpose space. You can see here I'm working like on the gym area, like the black mats is our gym flooring, but then also we have storage out here and other projects out here, and it's just really messy whenever we sand things. So I was trying to do this project as contained as possible, but with that all vacuumed up, I'm gonna end up filling in this crack with some wood filler. Now, this lamp was not wood, but like I said, I figured it kind of would do what I needed it to do. Even though it's not like the exact right product to use to fill this crack, I was totally comfortable just kind of branching out, cutting a little bit of a corner here just to make it look a lot better. And I will tell you guys that this did work out. I let it dry and harden for a little bit, and then I came back in with the same sanding block and just smoothed out all of the rough bits sticking out.
I've been trying my best for a while, trying to please.
The lamp was now fully prepped and mostly smoothed out, so I moved it out to the backyard to be spray painting it. Now, if you've seen our baby girl's nursery, we have a beautiful mural up behind her crib, and it has lots of shades of blue in it. And I asked you guys on Instagram again. I'm always asking for your opinion over there, but I was asking you guys over there and on YouTube what I should be painting this lamp. I wanted to bring more color into her space because I thought it was very monotone and very flat in there. And a lot of you guys recommended like a pretty periwinkle or a light blue or something from the mural, and so I loved that idea. Went to Lowe's, bought a can of spray paint, and I'm gonna be spray painting this lamp a blue color, trying to be quirky and different and not just beige and white and neutral, and to have a bold accent lamp in this room. And guys, this color was just not it. I'll talk to you more about it later, but basically after I've sanded it, this project goes downhill pretty fast, so stay tuned to see what happens.
I'll be going away for a while. Oh, and I don't know what I'll find. Maybe I can be a rock star, playing songs on my guitar. I know I have to be somewhere else to be able to find myself. Shouldn't be so complicated. If I listen to my heart, I'm gonna leave it all behind. Find myself, I'm gonna start over new. Yeah, I'm on my way now. 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 I don't wanna be dragged in a box. I just wanna go my own way. 'Cause I am on my way.
Now, it looked pretty good outside, and then it dried when I brought it up to Madeline's nursery, and all I could think is that there is a Smurf standing in the corner of the nursery. Just something about either the tone of the blue or it's like a satin finish, I don't know. It just was not it, guys. I'm gonna chat to you a bit at the end of the video, laugh with you about this project, and just wanted to remind you guys that not all DIY projects are successes, and sometimes your decisions don't pan out, and that's totally okay. Okay, I was trying to be a little quirky and different and out of my comfort zone by going neutral, and I just don't think this is it. This is a disaster. It looks like there's a Smurf standing in the corner of this room. I don't know if it's just the color, if it's the satin finish. I think a matte finish would have looked a lot better, but still probably wouldn't have fixed it. I don't know. It's not working for me. I think I'm gonna spray paint it white. I don't know what else to do to make this any better, so that's a total fail. So, sorry, from this lamp, from me to you, an entire day spent sanding, way too long spent sanding this thing. At least it looks better and it's like a smooth finish now, but this is just not not what I was hoping it to look like, and I don't feel like buying spray paint before this video, so welcome to my ugly lamp that's now living in Madeline's nursery. Baby, can you please forgive me for this ugly lamp that I put in your room? Yeah? Will you please forgive me for this? I know it's bad. I'll fix it, I promise. Guys, this is probably one of the worst things I've ever DIY'd in my entire life. I do want a lamp in here though. I like the lamp when it's turned on. Like, it definitely feels cozier in here with that lamp. It's just not meant to be blue.